Hey YouTubers, thank you for checking out today's video. For those of you that don't know us, I'm Trish.
And I'm Carolina.
We're with Just Dance, and in this series, we're going over tips to help you improve your posture, connection, technique, and musicality in the most common patterns in the waltz. And in this video, we're gonna be going over your frame/connection, because they're all in one, your technique, and musicality in the reverse turn. So let's get to it.
Okay, so this is what the reverse pattern looks like. I'm leading and Trish is following. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's the pattern. And what I'm gonna talk about is the leader's connection to the follower. So the most common mistake is for leaders to pull their follower inwards in the second half of the pattern. So this is the first half. 1, 2, 3, and then the mistake is to pull like this. 1, 6, 7.
So you want to make sure, leaders, that you're giving your partner enough space throughout. You're always keeping that right arm in front of your body. You're never closing it in and crowding your partner. Now followers, also we need to do our part as well by maintaining our offset position and our leftward stretch throughout, so we can have a great connection in our leader's right hand. So notice throughout this pattern how I'm going to stay off to my left and in Carolina's hand. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so make sure that you're maintaining that position throughout, and leaders, you're not pulling your partner in. My next tip for you is to make sure that you're using contra body movement. You may have heard of this term before as CBM. This is what happens before a turn is done to help create turn and create space. So what we want to make sure that we're doing is, as the leg is in motion, I'm doing the leader's part right now. As my left leg's in motion, my body's already starting to turn. A lot of times what might happen is a dancer might step and then try to turn their body. Well, that's too late, because if Carolina does that to me, I'm going to be blocking her. So if she turns her body after she takes her step, then I'm in her way and we get a disconnect. So if you pay attention to her leg, as her leg goes forward, her body's already starting to turn, and notice how it created a curve. So now I'm curving out of her way, creating space for her to swing past me. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing this direction. I'm gonna curve so I can swing past her. So we need to make sure that we're using our CBM at the appropriate time. My next tip is on the rotation. We want to make sure that by the time our feet come together on count 3 or count 6, our turn has been completed. A lot of times what happens is dancers don't quite get around enough, so they try to make up for it when their feet are closed. This results in getting off balance and pushing and pulling your partner, which is not good. So you want to make sure, again, I'm going to demonstrate the leader's part just by myself for a second. As the feet are coming together, by the time they're together, we have completed our turn. What might happen sometimes is we don't get around enough, our feet are closed, and we're like, ugh, and we try to complete it. That's going to be a problem. We're going to demonstrate that. So Carolina's going to close her feet and try to turn and show you the wrong way. 1, 2, 3, and then if you notice, I'm now like hip to hip with her. If we just turn this way a little bit so they can see, I am way too offset. So I'm way too far off to the left. I need it to be here. But that's what happens when the leader tries to create turn at the very last second to make up for it. We get out of our connection, we lose our frame, which is a bad thing because it's only going to create more problems down the dance. So we're going to demonstrate it again, showing you how our turn completes by the time the feet are together. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So by the time we say 3, we are completing our dance or our measure and lowering. And the very last thing we want to talk about is musicality. So on musicality, we want to make sure we're accenting the 2 and we're swinging up. So when we count it, you almost want to sing it, because if you sing it, you'll dance it that way. We want to think 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so that we can swing our hips and take our flight on those 2 counts. So again, we have 1, 2, 3, 1, So if you count it that way, you're going to dance it that way, and instantly that's going to improve your musicality. All right, so those are our tips for you today. A quick recap. We talked about our frame and our connection. Carolina talked about not pulling your arm leaders, making sure to keep that space. And I had talked about followers maintaining your leftward stretch and staying in an offset position throughout. And then the next thing we talked about was the CBM, contra body movement. Making sure to rotate the body as the leg is in motion, not once the step has been taken. If you do it too late, it'll result in having to kind of fight to get past your partner, and you'll have to end up pushing and pulling, which again breaks our rule of maintaining our frame. And then our next tip was to make sure that your turn has been completed by the time your feet come together, not to try to force turn at that point if you did not get all the way around. And then lastly, we talked about musicality, making sure you're accenting that 2 and you're floating up onto your toes on the 2. And if you sing it the way you want to dance it, you will dance it the way the music is telling you. So make sure that you practice those things, and if you have any questions or comments, let us know below.
And don't forget to subscribe so that you can get notifications for our new videos.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.